If you've been using an app like Runna to train for your next race and still finding yourself stuck, maybe plateaued, or worse, even injured, this video is for you. I'm Dr. Peralta, physical therapist, run coach, and exercise physiologist. Over the past 10 years, I've helped hundreds of runners rehab injuries, return to running pain-free, and shave minutes off their PRs. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through why hiring a real run coach is more effective than hoping and praying an app like Runna is going to help, especially if you're serious about getting results without getting hurt. So by the end, you can understand the risk baked into these so-called custom apps like Runner, which is actually an AI-generated plan, the belief shift most runners need to make, and what separates coaching from training, and how I made this decision for myself, even as a physical therapist. So let's start by looking at the app everyone's talking about, Runna. Yes, it's popular. Yes, it's affordable. And yes, it might work for some people. But if you want to take your running to the next level and stay healthy doing it, it's not enough. So, Runner's coaching team, right? If you look at their app, they say they got Olympians on staff, they got a run coach, they got a physio. Sounds impressive, right? But here's what their plans are actually. I actually download the app. It's actually just like an AI generated plan, depending on the inputs you tell. What you tell you're a beginner, what race you want to run, whether you want to run like a half marathon or a full marathon, how many days a week you want to run. Sounds fair enough, right? But then I looked at the beginner recommendations. I put like 4 days a week. It had 2 speed workouts for beginners. Now that might not be a big deal if you're already pretty athletic, but if you're kind of brand new to it, 2 speed workouts may lead to potential injury, right? You might be overdoing it if you're a beginner, doing their beginner marathon training at 4 days a week with 2 speed workouts built in. And then their intermediate and advanced marathon looked pretty similar, just had more run workouts, like, for example, like a 5 day or 6 day plan. And then you even had the option of adding strength training or mobility. Again, all these things might work, these cookie cutter plans, even though the AI is generating it for you. And then when you do the workout, like I did a sample run workout, the AI tells you, hey, you're about to start the workout, tells you your splits and when you completed the run. But here's the problem. During my test run of doing their easy run workout, I purposely ran faster than the prescribed easy pace, and it gave me zero feedback. It didn't tell me, hey, you're slow down, you're going too fast. Not even a warning. And for friends, my easy run was supposed to be like 6 miles per hour on the treadmill. And then I overshot that pace on purpose to see what the app would do. And the app didn't do anything. Right. So then if you're a beginner, you're like, oh, I did my easy run today. But if you overshot it, you ran it too fast. Now you ran it like a moderate pace or even a hard pace. So then you actually ended up doing like 3 hard runs in a week instead of like 1, which I actually recommend beginners do, instead of doing like 2 or so. Or if you're a complete beginner, sometimes I say don't even do any hard workouts and just stick with easy until you build up your aerobic engine. Anyhow, yeah, so the app didn't really give me any feedback. And then I'm like thinking, okay, this could be a recipe for disaster, especially if you're a beginner. You keep, following the plan, thinking you're doing an easy run, but if you're overshooting it, you're not even paying attention to it, then that could quickly add up to excessive, moderate or hard training on your legs. And then that can lead to overuse injuries like runner's knee, IT band syndrome. So now let's reframe this conversation, right? Some common traps that runners fall into. They think, oh, I just need a plan. The truth is, most people don't need more information. They need better decisions, right? 'Cause there's lots of plans out there, whether it's Runner or some free plan you can find online. All this information is really available to you at just a click of a fingertip, right? Or swipe of a finger on an app. But we've all seen people who try to get into better shape, sign up for races, try to improve their paces. They follow free plans or they download Runner. But year after year, they either kind of stay the same. Some people may gain weight. Some people even get injured or drop off after race day, right? They'll finish the race, sure, but then they'll drop off from running altogether, take lots of time off, maybe restart to have this boom bust cycle. And sometimes people try to blame genetics, like, oh, it's my genetics, right? But they're still making decisions from the same kind of, either if they're someone who's overweight, their overweight state, or someone who's overtrained, their overtrained state, or under recovered mindset, maybe they're not sleeping enough. It's not until you make the decisions as a fit, healthy version of yourself that you start becoming one, right? As I say, have this athlete mentality, this athlete mindset to optimize not just doing your workouts, but also your lifestyle, things that go around, the nutrition, the sleep, the mobility. So ask yourself, what would the next level version of you do differently today, right? Isn't about being born at a certain level. It's actually adopting the habits and the mindsets of who you want to become, right? So it's not being born, but you learn to behave a certain way. So the way you are now is a direct result of your habits and behavior. So if you could reframe that, you can make a big identity shift. The other belief is that I've done this before, right? I've did it do it yourself. I did the do it yourself options. It worked for me in the past. It's good enough, right? I did run an app last year and it was fine. But let me ask you, are you satisfied with just finishing the race, right? Are you just satisfied with following the cookie cutter plan, just getting by? Even elite runners like Ipoje or Chebet have coaches, right? In different sports too, outside of running, basketball, etc. You could name almost any sport, and most of the elite athletes there have a coach that they work with, right? And a lot of these athletes have been doing their sport almost their entire lives, yet they still hire a coach. Why? Because coaches see what you can, right? They see um, your weak spots. They help guide you, adjust you, and help you reach yourself to the next level. So you may have a goal, but then your coach may help you take that goal even higher, right? That's just where you get someone who may have competed at like a local level and get them to that Olympic world class caliber level. So would a surgeon perform surgery on themselves? No, right? Even experts need outside eyes. Even though the surgeon may have gone through med school, through the surgery residency, and knows how to perform surgery, they're not going to do a surgery on themselves. And because again, they need that pair of eye tests to see, hey, what else they're probably missing, what could be potentially wrong. And even myself as a physical therapist, I know how to do PT, but when I'm injured, I still consult with another movement or injury expert to see what else I'm missing, even though technically, yes, I know what to do, but it's still good to get another pair of eyes to see, what, again, those blind spots. See, an app doesn't modify your training when you're pushing hard, right? I looked at the Runner app, right? It doesn't have like a troubleshooting thing in case you get injured. Doesn't know how to loop back and, okay, how do we modify your workout or work around your injury? Doesn't know how to do that, right? Your app doesn't adjust the tempo if you're sleep deprived or if you're stressed. It doesn't take into account your fueling, your hydration status. The app's not doing that either. And the app also doesn't look at your form to see if your form's breaking down, see if your movement quality is starting to deteriorate, if you're getting fatigued, right? Or any other potential red flags that may indicate, hey, you need to really scale back. Maybe you're overtraining. It doesn't really know how to recognize these other signs and symptoms, right? And sure, you can make plan adjustments, but it doesn't really know how to really progress it or regress it and really, again, tailor exercises or movements to you, even though it has cookie cutter strength plans, cookie cutter mobility videos you could follow, like a little yoga routine. Again, it still doesn't know what specific areas you have tight or what specific muscular imbalances that you may have that an expert can actually look at and then, right away give you what you need. But if you're trying to just rely on this AI, it really doesn't have all the functionality that it's giving you this false marketing, this false belief that, oh, it's really custom and tailored to you. No, it's just AI giving you a cookie cutter, a run plan. And that's why I recommend working with a real life human expert in movement who can actually guide through what movements you're, probably have limitations in that are holding you back with your running or potentially putting you at risk for injury. Another belief is that coaching is too expensive. Like, oh, I'm just going to use the Runner app. It's cheap. Why am I going to hire a coach? Coach is way too expensive. You don't understand. Well, let's break it down. All right. A lot of people, they go, I'm from New York, so I'm using the New York City Marathon. New York City Marathon's about $300 for the entry fee. Not to mention all the other smaller races you have to get in if you're doing 9+1. Oftentimes you're then paying a fee to do these other races just to get into the New York City Marathon. Let's say if you were to get hurt and consult with an orthopedic specialist, like a orthopedic doctor or surgeon, it'd be like $800, right? If you don't have insurance that's covering it. And then if you were to get PRP injections in New York, it may be anywhere from $500 to $3,000 for PRP injections to help you recover from your injury, right? So the injury is going to lead to months lost, the race deferred, your momentum gone. The average cost of working with a run coach, anywhere from like $200, $300 a month. So it may seem expensive, but in the grand scheme of things, if it helps you avoid surgery or having to do like PRP injections and things like that and stay healthy and actually hit your goals, ask yourself, is that worth it to, cross the finish line pain-free and hit your PRs, right? Get faster without the burnout. Would that be worth it for you? Because most of the runners who end up in my PT clinic didn't plan to get hurt, right? They're like, oh, I'm just going to use a cookie cutter app or a plan. I've seen lots of runners who use the Runna app show up in my clinic with like knee pain, even though they were using the app and getting a quote unquote customized plan. Again, they were getting a cookie cutter plan and they were pushing through on their workouts thinking that everything's fine because runners telling them to do the workouts, and they end up still getting hurt. And I'm not saying that you can't avoid all injuries, but working with a coach, an expert who's actually looking at you move, can help decrease that risk of injury substantially, especially a good one who also knows how to look at movement, like a physical therapist and run coach. Another thing I always hear from people, I don't know if I can justify it. Let me tell you something. Like, I don't know if I could justify working with a run coach. So I'm going to share a personal story of mine. I have a background in exercise physiology. I have a master's in exercise physiology, right? I still hired a run coach for my first marathon. Cost me about $1,000 for a 20-week plan. I also then paid about $2,000 to work with a physical therapist who specializes in breathing, even though I'm a doctor of physical therapy myself. And at that time, when I worked with the run coach and the physio, I still had my own student loans to pay. I just had an entry-level physical therapy job. And sure, I had to like pull funds out to make it work. It was a stretch, but I knew I wanted to show up as the best version of myself. And I remember asking, my mom, was talking to my mom, like, what should I do? And she said, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? And that changed everything for me, because when it comes down to it, you either make decisions based on the fear of failing, or you make decisions based on a belief you'll figure it out and win, right? Because if you keep feeling, oh, I'm just going to go broke if I put it on a credit card or find some funds somewhere else, oftentimes we're not going to go broke. You're still going to be alive. Oftentimes you make expenses on other things that you forget about, like the following week. For so many people go out to eat, spend a couple $100s on drinks, dinners out, meals out, etc., and then forget about it next week, right? So it's like an investment in yourself. And if you have that belief and mindset that you're going to make it work regardless, that mindset has shaped everything that I personally do. And that's what I want for my runners too. Like, we're not afraid to ask for help or work with a coach to take it to the next level, right? Instead of being stuck here using the Runner app, like thinking, oh, I'm just going to stay the same year after year, working with a coach to really bridge that gap and go to the next level. So if you're still not sure, let me leave you with this. Apps give you structure, coaches give you results. Apps give you workouts, coaches give you accountability. Apps track your pace, but coaches really push you and take your progress, again, to that next level where you may be staying in your comfort zone. Coaches help you push you past that comfort zone. So if you're tired of doing it alone, and you're ready to stop guessing and start running stronger, check out my free training for runners, link in the description. I'll walk you through how I help runners build strength, stay injury-free, and train smarter, not just harder. And before you go, ask yourself this. What's one action you could take today that would help you go to sleep tonight, knowing you did everything you could to run healthy, stay strong, and become the runner you know you're capable of being? Your next level doesn't come from another app. It comes from a decision. So let's get to work.